finish off this with the Crusaders. So the defending Super Rugby champions, they topped the regular season table. They round one, they destroyed the Waratahs. Round two, they lost to the Chiefs, I said, in like by 10 points. And then they beat the Blues, Highlanders. And then at a break, they smashed the Reds. I didn't know that was quite close. Actually, that's the wrong one. My notes are in red because I support the Crusaders now. So they close game. They could have lost to the Reds at home, which would be quite interesting. And then they just smashed the Sunwolves in the last game. But what's really interesting with the Crusaders, I don't know, and this is maybe not doing as much research as I could have done, was they've done a lot of rotation. And maybe that's injuries, I don't know. But for example, and this is why he's not in my top 5, is Richie Mo'unga hasn't actually played a lot of rugby this season. He's been in and out. So honourable mentions to him straight off the bat, but he's obviously one of the All Blacks between him and Barrett at the moment, but he is just, he's been in and out. Yeah, go on.
So I think one of the reasons that Mo'unga and a few of the other big name All Blacks, so I know Rieko Ioane was in a similar position. New Zealand Rugby essentially wanted them to look after those All Blacks who'd played lots of games at the World Cup, because obviously, Beauden Barrett literally went on his honeymoon for the first half of the season. They were quite keen to not overwork them, and so quite a few of those, particularly for the Crusaders, who need to be getting right into the peak of the form towards the end of the season, quite arrested or used those rest weeks quite early on. So they disproportionately didn't really play in what would have been that first half of the season. You might have seen, I'm not sure if Cruden was in the same boat, but I think they were treating him like an All Black-ish, because they were expecting him to play. I know he didn't play every game for the Chiefs. Just looking down the Blues squad list. But yeah, I think that's why you have seen Mo'unga not play every game.
It seems to be that Robinson, as I say, in the first few weeks, obviously we didn't see COVID coming really to just sort of the impact that it's had, but he was definitely, you could see him as a coach, like thinking outside the box. So he rotated the squad so much in a good way. Like it's not detrimental to their performance. They've been so successful. So just as I said, like we talked about strength and depth for these teams, but generally the Crusaders have the best squad. Like I could have done a top 10 of players. Like, so honourable mentions straight off the bat are, like, as I said, Richie Mo'unga. They've got Joe Moody, who's still just he's probably the best loosehead in the world. Like, from watching his highlights, been superb. Cody Taylor, brilliant. They've got Scott Barrett is the captain at the moment. He is just killing it, like, brilliant. They've got Luke Romano, who blasts from the past, but just so many caps, the All Blacks, but brilliant. One to watch in there, he's not in the top 5, but I'll cheekily slot him in there, is watch their 7, Tom Christie. Great little offloading game. He's got very good potential. Reminds me of Kane.
He's quite quick.
Very
Christie. He scored a couple of quite good breakaway tries.
He's definitely one to watch. Also, Bryn Hall, their 9s, is worth a little punt as well. So my top 5 is, I'll start with the star player, and that is, quite frankly, he's the best centre in the world at the moment, and that's Jack Goodhue. Like, we talked about like Lamape, we've talked about maybe Damien McKenzie. A lot of stuff comes through those types of players, but he is literally the core of the Crusaders. Like, every unbelievable try they've scored this year has either been started or he does something in it. He's defensively brilliant. His kicking game's come on really well in the last few years, but his offloading is just unreal. That first 10 minutes, he just goes little dart. He's not the biggest player, but he just gets his offload away. He's seriously good, and he will be key to the Crusaders going on and potentially winning this thing. If he gets injured, they could be in they'll be fine, but he's a big impact for them. He's their star player. Next one is obviously the All Black winger, Sevu Reece, the try scoring machine. If you watch this 2019 World Cup, you'll see a lot of him. Very, very quick, great feet. He reminds me of Rokoko, Sivivatu. just literally, he's one of the top wingers in the world at the moment. He probably should have had more tries, but he's quite unselfish and does set up others. So certainly he will be key to the Crusaders getting tries. The next one is George Bridge. Again, All Black winger at the World Cup. He's been deployed in 3 games for the Crusaders at 15, which is interesting. I think they were rotating with David Harvilli, who's another honourable mention. Harvilli even played 10 against the Sunwolves, and he was absolutely brilliant. But yeah, so Bridge at 15 is actually potentially really, really, really an option for the All Blacks is having him there, because he's great under the high ball. He's got a great, as I said, great kicking game that you need to be at 15, but he's so fast and he does break the line very, very well. So maybe 15 could be a really good position for him. And unfortunately, I don't think Will Jordan's been having, I think he might have got injured after the second week maybe, but he's not had the go it is. He's another young up and coming 15 to watch out for. Number 4, and again, I apologise if I pronounce this wrong, but for a long time, my favourite named player in the world was Argentinian centre Geronimo De La Fuente, and he's now been replaced by Lester Fanganuku, who has had the opportunity to play in the Crusaders this year because of George Bridge moving to 15. He's got fantastic hair, one of the best hairs in Super Rugby. Go and have a look at him, but very, very fast, very powerful. He's got great, just gets low, drives powerful. He's got some really good tries. I think he's got maybe 3 or 4 tries this year, but he's definitely worth a punt as a guy to keep an eye out for. Yeah.
So I don't know. Obviously, the 4 of us are quite familiar with how the fantasy rugby draft point system works. And you know when a player's had a good game when he gets 20 points in a week, had a really good game when he gets 30 points a week. Fangaku got 60 points in a week this season. He is unbelievable.
Yeah.
When he gets going.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone in the top 14 or something in France picks him up, because I don't know yet if he's that New Zealand level with Ione, Bridge, Reese, but he's got the potential to go very far. And number 5, my favourite player at the moment, Jack Goodhue's partner, Braden Enor. Oh my God. If you do one thing after listening to this, just go and watch this kid play rugby. He is the next big thing in New Zealand rugby. And he's probably been chatting about that in New Zealand for a while, but my God, he's 24, he's got 1 cap, he got a cap against Argentina in 2019. He's 6'4", and he's unreal quick. Like, for a big lad, he shifts. Like, you thought George North was quite quick. You should see this fella. Oh, my. Got, again, in the centres, a classic blueprint for a New Zealand centre. Has got to be able to offload. Brilliant. 13, gets in the 13 channel, can offload. But he just gets low and drives and hits the gap. There's a try, I think it's against the Blues, actually, where when he comes back against the grain out of absolutely nowhere and just splinters straight through the middle. Just, this kid is going to be, as I said, he's going to push out someone like Lamape and Leonard Brown in the New Zealand centres in the next few years, because flipping heck, like that, and they're there too. So him and Goodhue together is the reason for me why the Crusaders are going to win Super Rugby New Zealand, because that they are deadly together. I think Harry talked about the Blues having a really strong backline, and I completely agree with you. It's one of the best in the competition, and they don't have a forward pack. But the Crusaders have got everything. They've got 91% line out retention. They score a hell of a lot of tries off their line outs. They bring in a lot of backs off their line out, so they'll fake going to the back, and then Barrett will hit off the top and go straight to the winger, or hit the 10. Like, they do a hell of a lot of their line out, and again, solid scrum. But yeah, I can't see past the Crusaders winning this, just because of the players they've got. So, as I said, look out for Jack Goodhue as their star player, but watch out for Braden Enor. Like, seriously got so much potential, so much talent.
It does make it quite difficult to get excited about a player who plays for any team other than the Crusaders, when you know that whichever position you imagine, so the Blues, Mark Talia is really exciting and really good. The Crusaders have Sevu Reece and Faingaku with that sort of same archetype, and they're both perhaps better than Talia. And obviously, both of those centres are just unbelievably good.
Yeah.
Enel, when they put Enel on the wing and give him a bit of a license to roam around, absolutely terrifying.
It's also come to think of where like David Harvilli's not playing a lot this year, and again, if you're not familiar with David Harvilli, go and just look at him. He's phenomenal. Defines the utility back, and play centre, fullback, and fly half. I don't know how they're going to get him in the team, but maybe potentially probably go back to fullback, and maybe Funganuku drops out onto the bench. But that's a decent player to bring off the bench anyway.